I love music, right? So like the Beastie Boys, Mike D, he once said, if we wouldn't have done this, somebody else would have done that. So what that kind of tells me, which was important, is to understand that, you know, genius is not owned by people. It's just a matter of how aware and sensitive you can be to the moment you're working in.
The painting helps you to see things that are happening in the environment that you didn't totally notice before.
Making an experience for the public and putting something out there it's not taking up space but creating space, and seeing how something compact can all of a sudden open up an entire room.
It all comes from an 8.5 by 11 drawing. So we kind of, we reduce the overall painting into single units and isolate the shapes, tape them down. It doesn't look like much for a while. We tear down the tape, and the first layer that we pull the tape down, it's just sparse shapes, like a color here and a color there. And then the next one that goes up, we paint the next phase of shapes, and then we pull that tape down, and that's when you start to see the colors against each other. So so that second phase, you start to see color relationships. And then the third phase, you sort of see those pairings of colors interact with other pairings of colors because they might be connected by the third shape. And then usually by the fourth or fifth phase, we'll have like almost the completed painting. So it's really not until you don't actually see the painting until the last shape is painted, because it's this weird puzzle, and the last color is usually the determining the determining essence, I guess, is like decided by that last shape.
My major was painting, but then I had sculpture and printmaking as an undergrad, and as a grad student it was drawing and sculpture. So the wall installations, I believe, encompass so many different things. They engage sculpture in the way that they engage the surface and architectural formation of the building, and then drawing in as much as what I'm using as a element or structural element in holding the color that's activating the wall installation. What's actually happening in the wall installations is that both the drawing and the color are operating together. It's not a mural of color, it's a mural constructed with drawing to hold, contain, shape, and direct the color. That's the force, that's a force in and amongst all these forces within the wall work.
The touch-ups are special because of the mental place that you get to go to and like being so close to it, and then the reward is amazing. Like when you step back and you can just like scan the wall and all you see is glowing lines, it's phenomenal. And then sometimes you'll see a little blip in that glow and you're like, you know what, I'm 20 feet away, but I know there's something there that's interrupting this flow. And so then you walk up to it and sure enough, there's something. You fix it, you step back, and it's like, ha ha. It's amazing. It's so satisfying.
I've done many different installations in many different places over the years. A certain part of my experience is wanting to be able to create something that is valuable to the people in the community. In each one of them I learned something new, and that's what's really, really great and important for me.
He's getting incredible patrons now. The fact that the Nasher Museum of Art is on that list is a great honor. His art is also evolving so that he is responding to each site. So they're site-specific pieces in a way that, you know, a canvas can never be.
Through Odili's work, students can really understand how concepts can be made more comprehensible, more intuitive, more meaningful through an experience that's moving, through an experience that's felt in the body as well as understood in the mind. Art can be a form of knowledge about things that are really important. Odili is a conceptual artist, but he's also an artist who's very concerned with form and beauty. He has said that color has the possibility of mirroring the complexity of the world.
One of the most interesting parts about his work is the way that he manipulates and plays around with color. And, you know, for him, every piece of his art is about human and social and cultural interaction. And so one of the big concepts that he arrived to his murals with was this idea that no color ever looks the same twice, no matter what you do with it, that it interacts with the colors around it. It's informed by the time and space that you mix and pour it. And so for him, every single color that he puts on the wall in this myriad array is something that will never exist in the same way again.
I'm very interested in that openness and fluidity of what color is and how it can exist in that space. And then if you could reflect that to people or to society, then you have a really, I believe, an interesting way of looking at your world, where instead of just judging something by the cover, look deeper into what you're looking at or interacting with and see how complicated something as simple as meeting another person can be, and rich.
Artists allow you to see things in a new way, and even understand your own history and your own space and your, where you work and where you live. I actually had talked to Odili several years ago about doing a mural project, and it was just it was too early of an idea, but now for the 10-year anniversary it's actually the perfect timing, so we're really excited to have him here.
When the curators for the celebration of our 10th anniversary suggested that we commission Odili to do a mural in the Nasher and then another mural in downtown Durham, so then it would be a visual connection, I was thrilled. I knew it would be a success. I knew it. I mean, it's gorgeous.
For me, what's so interesting about Odili is that he comes out of this practice where it is very socially and politically and culturally engaged, where he's creating more overtly politicized work. And then he starts to move into a colorist, painterly mode. And all of that is sort of still the foundation of his work. And when he goes in and he does his research, when he investigates a history or a geography or an individual, and it comes through in the painting, but to the naked eye, you may not get that right away. So I thought with, you know, the fact that we're here in Durham, North Carolina, the fact that our program has been so socially engaged, so many of the works that we brought into the collection and exhibitions that we produce have had work or championed work that are by artists who are very engaged with the social issues and cultural issues of our day. That Odili is the perfect artist to bridge those two worlds. So his work that he created inside the museum is an investigation of Duke's own history.
When I came to the Nasher, I began to ask a lot of questions about Durham. And then one moment I saw this thing about Julian Francis Abel, and I read it and I was just totally floored by the importance of this man and his attachment to not only the university from where I'm living, University of Pennsylvania, you know, but this university as well, Duke University, and how he's connected to the Duke family through the architecture firm Bauer, and from there being hired to essentially make up a lot of the buildings that are West Campus of Duke University. And the fact that he was the first African-American student to graduate from the architecture school in the University of Pennsylvania to win awards there, it was just amazing to learn this and to see that this is information that was kept in the dark because of the design of those times. And you know, to bring them back to light, I think is really important. And I love the way that it connects to, you know, this shadow and light play I have in that painting, and the idea of bringing Julian Abel's history out of the shadows and into the light of day.
You know, that's one of the great things about inviting an artist to come in and do a new project. We actually all learned something. I didn't know that story. I didn't know that history. And I think a lot of us here at the museum and a lot of us at the university and even in Durham didn't know that history. But now we're aware, and it's wonderful.